Welcome to the 2021 Munich Motor Show. It's all about being green. Now in this video, I'm going to give you an A to Z list of all the latest and greatest cars coming from each of the manufacturers here at the show. Anyway, I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. Welcome to the Audi stand here at the Munich Motor Show, though it isn't actually at the normal show centre, it's in the centre of Munich. Anyhow, we have this new car here. It's called the Grand Sphere, and it's a big luxury limousine that is, of course, electric powered. And this car will go on to replace the A8. Yeah, you heard that right. It's got a 120 kilowatt hour battery, 2 electric motors, 720 horsepower, a range of around 500 miles. But you've got to check out how gorgeous it looks from the side and the cool way that you get into it. So look at the doors. They open barn style to make it nice and easy for you to get in. There is no pillar in the middle, so you can get into the back or the front effortlessly. Look at this. And it's so spacious here on the inside and very modern looking with this digital display here which is projected onto the wooden panelling. You can drive this car yourself, but if you can't be bothered to drive it yourself, it does have level 4 autonomy, which means you can press this button on the steering wheel and that'll go away. And where it's legally allowed, the car will drive itself completely. You can then put the car into like this comfort relax mode, which will just kind of lie you back in your seat and you'll just be whisked to wherever you need to go. Now you might be thinking, how the heck do I control all the car's functions now? Because I'm too far away from all the infotainment system and stuff. Well, this car has eye tracking, so you can actually see where I'm looking. And there are these icons on the dash, and I can look across at them, they'll highlight, and then I can select them. Now to select them, you actually touch a panel in the door. Obviously the door's open so I can't do it. So I've got a man from Audi, look, there he is. He's operating it there. So if I look at that icon there, it'll highlight, then he tapped the panel on the door and it selected it. It's that simple. It's concept for now, but this car will inspire an actual road-going version which will be released in around 4 or 5 years' time. Sometimes at motor shows it's hard to tell what a new car is all about, but BMW is making things very easy for us here by writing it down the side. So this is an X5, but as you can see, it's got a hydrogen fuel cell. Now this car isn't actually going on sale, they're just testing it out. They're not going to put all their eggs into the EV-only basket. I think that hydrogen still has a future. They're not as far down the road with this tech, obviously, as Toyota that's actually selling hydrogen cars. But anyway, we're going to move on to something that's a lot more futuristic and interesting just over there. Here on the BMW stand, they are showing off this concept. It's called the iVision Circular. So this points at what cars will be like from BMW in the year 2040. Obviously, it's all electric, but that's not the story. It's about sustainability. So everything on this car can be recycled or has come from recycled sources. And when you recycle the parts on the car, you don't just use them for like Coke cans or something like that. They can actually be used to build other cars. So when a car dies, it gives life to another car. Let me talk you through how they achieve that. What they do, rather than having lots of different panels made up of different components, it's all just one piece. So this piece here is one single piece of aluminium. It means that when you take it off, you can recycle that, and it can be high-grade recycled aluminium you can use in a car. So there's no plastic badge with the BMW Blue propeller stuck on. No, it's actually engraved into the car. So you don't have to worry about separating out different materials. Here at the front, you've got this kidney grille effect. Obviously there's not the lights, the plastic grille, it's all just a design graphic with the lights actually built in to the glass. So you've got LEDs which can basically do anything that you want them to. You know, they can put different designs and graphics on there. It doesn't matter. Now let's walk around the side. And you'll notice this, look at the tyres. So part of the thing about sustainability, some people are really into it, but others don't care. They just want something that looks cool. And what they've done here is used recycled rubber for the tyres, and they've actually put bits of recycled material into the rubber, and you can see it, and it gives a cool effect rather than just a black tyre. I've got to show you this as well. All the light graphics down the side, once again, all part of the glass. So when you recycle the glass, you're not having to remove different bits and pieces. It's all just one piece. I've got to show you how the doors open. So the man will open the doors for us. It's quite an interesting looking interior. It's sort of retro, but also very futuristic. There's something a bit Art Deco about it, but then something sci-fi. See the patterning on the doors? It looks cool, doesn't it? However, they haven't actually painted or anything. It's just the way the plastic is moulded. It just comes out like that. Then there's this glass here, which has this really cool light effect on it. Now, it's actually just laser printed, and they can laser print in touch sensitive buttons as well. It's all one piece. You could remove that and you could recycle it and use it again on a car. The seats, made from recycled materials, but they're velour and it feels really luxurious and plush. Then there's bits on the back that you can actually release to remove the seat covers, and so you can just recycle them because it's just one material. Same with the floor mats, just one piece, easy to recycle. The steering wheel is really interesting. It's actually laser printed from wood. The door hinges, aluminium, laser printed. Now you probably noticed these things, look, these little bits about the place. Those are the bolts which hold the different pieces together. So normally with a car you would have different materials like layered onto one another. So you'd have, for a steering wheel, you would have a metal rim, then you'd have some foam around it, and then you would have the leather around that. And so it's really hard to separate when you're trying to recycle the car. There's none of that. You just separate out the materials by undoing these bolts, and then you've got the individual materials which can then be recycled really easily. This big glass piece on the dash, once again laser printed, there's a light in it and it just refracts through it, creating that effect. The space you got in there, right? Same size as a 5 Series, whereas on the outside it's the same size as an i3. This is effectively the i3 of the future, and it's sustainable. Cupra has just revealed this. It's called the Urban Rebel. Yeah, silly name, requires silly voice. But it's not a silly car. It's an electric racing car concept. Single electric motor at the back, produces up to 430 horsepower, 0 to 60 in around 3 seconds. But what does it mean? Because it's just concept for now. Well, this design will actually inspire future sporty electric cars from Cupra from around 2025, and they'll have this sort of silhouette. Some of the features they won't have, which are on this though, like these tyre shredding hubcaps, they'd be illegal. That massive front splitter, that just get ground out over speed humps in town. Big roof scoop, a huge rear spoiler with the old gooseneck effect, a bit like you have on the Porsche 911 GT3. You won't be getting those, or maybe the crazy big diffuser at the back, but the general idea is there. It's definitely something to look out for. Oh look, it's the public debut of the Cupra Born. It's basically Cupra's version of the Volkswagen ID3, though it's just got some goldy bronzy bits on it and a more aggressive looking face. It's quite nice. Let's have a look at the inside. Bet it's going to be quite similar to the ID3. Well, yeah, infotainment system, digital driver display the same. Design on the dash is cooler though, I prefer it. Material quality is similar. Apparently there's quite a lot of recycled materials used in this cabin. It's all right. So look at the back seats. Yeah, similar to the ID3. Enough space there for adults, over 6 foot even. Now this thing is powered by a rear-mounted electrical motor, and it has up to 231 horsepower. The quickest version of this will do 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds. Biggest battery, 77 kilowatt hours. Give you a range of about 350 miles. Big enough boot, similar to the ID3. Well, like that. The rear design's pretty cool. I do love a rear light bar. I also love a coffee bar, so I think I'm going to just head over there for a moment to get a caffeine fix to help me on my way for the rest of the show. Bear with me.
Later.
The Munich Motor Show is all about e-mobility, though I don't think Dacia got the memo, because they've unveiled a new car that has a petrol engine under the bonnet. It's this, the Jogger, and it's a 7-seater MPV. Let's go check it out inside, because believe it or not, this is based on the Sandero. So when you climb into the front, you think, oh yes, it does look similar to the Sandero, and the Sandero's got quite a nice interior actually for an inexpensive car. And this is inexpensive, it'll start from around £14,000. However, when you go into the back seats, you think, wait a minute, this is a lot bigger than a Sandero, and I have picnic tables and MPV-like stuff and loads of headroom and legroom, and what's that back there? What? Oh yes, we have an extra row of seats, and to get into those, what I have to do is pull this down, flip this forward like that. Quite easy to do, you see, and then I can get into the back. And surprisingly, there's a decent amount of room back here. Look, I'll fold this down so you can see. It's actually pretty spacious here in the back. I don't think any car will give you as much space or passenger carrying capability for so little cash. This thing is huge and great value for money. There is one thing I'm concerned about. So I told you it was a petrol car. It's a 1 litre. Fine in the Sandero. How's it going to cope with 7 people on board, especially if there's 7 adults who've eaten a lot of food? Hey, you join me on the Ford stand with some cool elevator music. They only have one car here that's new, and it's over there. It's the Cougar mindfulness concept. What's that all about? Well, it's all about getting pretty blummin' zen, baby. So what's different about this mindful Cougar? Well, here on the inside you get recycled materials for parts of the interior. You also get a blast of fresh air from the air conditioning system to help wake you up when you first get in the car. Then there's this special mindful app, and it has something called Mindful Driving, which will monitor how you're driving to make sure you're not being a dick to other road users. You have driving yoga, which will tell you to stretch and move about and breathe as you're driving along so you don't feel too tired. There's meditation, which will just help you clear your mind through various guidance and music, which is played through special Bang & Olufsen speakers in the headrests. Then there's Power Nap, so that'll recline the seat for you using a special pillow to get nice and comfy. And then it uses those speakers in the headrest to play different frequency noises into each of your ears, and apparently that can alter your brainwaves so that you go down into a deep sleep and smoothly back up again, all within 12 minutes, so you wake up invigorated and ready to continue your journey. It's all very clever and a bit mysterious, and yeah, I'm not taking a piss, it could actually be quite useful. Okay, let's see what we've got going on the next. Oh, why are you going? Hey? You silly tire blummin' debendum, all of you. Yep. Oh, yeah, it's enough of that. Motor shows are always really exhausting. You have to walk for miles and miles and miles, and that's why, even though I'm only at the letter H for the Hyundai stand, I'm having to take a seat. You might think I'm lazy, and if you're a lazy taxi driver, you're going to like the Ioniq 5 Robo Taxi, because this thing, it has level 4 autonomy, so it can pretty much drive itself. All those bits and pieces on it are sensors. Even that one at the top, that's not a police siren, it's a sensor. So it can see exactly what's around it, so it can drive in certain environments completely on its own. Now, not completely on its own. For legal reasons, you still have to have a taxi driver present, but they won't do any driving at all. They'll just sit there and the car will do the rest. Seems a bit odd and pointless, but robo-taxi. Now, this car isn't actually new. It was unveiled a couple of years ago. It's the Hyundai Ioniq 6 Prophecy. The reason I want to show you is because it sort of reminds me of a Porsche 996. In fact, it's Hyundai's answer to the Porsche Taycan, only it has doors like a Rolls-Royce. See? Look. It's cool, isn't it? Makes it easy to get in and out. Obviously, it's not production ready, but something similar will come along at some point from Hyundai. Here on the Kia stand we have the new Sportage, and I'm going to give you my whistle-stop tour of it. So, the design here at the front is busy, but interesting. The swoopy back, it's a little bit like that on the EV6. The inside is nice with good quality and all the tech. The back seats are roomy and comfortable. The boot has an electric tailgate, is a decent size, and has some secret storagey bits. You'll be able to get the car with either a 1.6 litre petrol engine or a 1.6 litre diesel. The petrols have mild hybrid technology, are normal hybrids or plug-in hybrids, and the diesel you can have just as a normal diesel or a mild hybrid diesel. In terms of pricing, it should be competitive, don't know the exact price. Scooter company Micro has released this Microlino bubble car. It's a bit like the Isetta bubble car, only of course it's electric. But like the Isetta, you get into it through the front. So it's a 2-seater. It's left-hand drive only, though this car is quite narrow, so it doesn't really matter that in the UK you'd be sat over this side. It's got a sunroof. Hello. Yeah, look, hello. It's got a sunroof, yeah. We've got some cup holders, we've got a little screen there, you've got your drive select there, and then you just shut the door like that. Excuse me, I'm just going to shut the door on you. Okay, something dropped off. Don't worry about that, it's a prototype. That bit there. Anyway, let's move on. So, underneath the floor, we've got a battery pack. So you can get a 6 kilowatt hour battery pack up to a 14 kilowatt hour battery pack. We've got a boot here with a little Microlino scooter for your child. Ah, lovely. Price-wise, start from around £13,000. Mercedes has revealed this very, very discreet vehicle here in Munich. It's very hard to notice. It doesn't stand out at all. It's not in your face, not in any way, shape or form. It is the shy, retiring Maybach EQS. So it's basically the luxury version of the EQS that's been jacked up because it's now an SUV. And it's got a lot of chrome on it, a lot of chrome. Look, big chrome there with the Maybach written in the chrome strip on the bonnet. There's Maybach logos in the lights. You've got these big chrome effects in the grille that's not really a grille because it's an electric car. It doesn't need to cool an internal combustion engine. There's more chrome here, which is almost like a cheese grater. So if this car goes into production, I'm not sure they're going to be allowed to have that because of like pedestrian protection, because that would be very lack of pedestrian protection, wouldn't it? I like the two-tone paint though. The chrome theme continues here, look, with the window surrounds. And then you've got the Maybach logo here as well, chrome on the doors and chrome running boards there to help you get in and out of the car. Oh my God. And these huge chrome wheels. What are these? Oh yeah, 24s. Bet they're expensive. Here at the back there is even more chromage. Chrome up here on the roof spoiler. Chrome here running the full width of the car. I really like these thin lights actually. Very, very cool. Chrome badging, chrome strippage, and then the cheese grater here at the back as well, just so you can do damage to people by reversing into them as well as driving forwards into them. Underneath the skin, this car is based on Mercedes' large electric car platform. So it gets a huge battery, over 100 kilowatt hours. Apparently the range from this thing will be over 370 miles. It'll have dual electric motors, so it has four-wheel drive and well over 400 horsepower, so it's got plenty of performance. What's going on here? What have they done to the G-Class? It's the EQG. It's electric. That's why it's got this funny LED grille. No V8 engine under this bonnet. Instead, what we've got is 4 electric motors, 1 powering each wheel. So you've got all-wheel drive. Perfect traction for off-road. Control the traction at each corner. Thankfully, it's still built on the G-Class's ladder frame chassis. So it's not like the electric architecture underneath that you get in the EQS and the Maybach EQS. It's still a proper G, just electric. I like it. A couple of other things I'm going to show you on this car. So look, you've got these LED lights here on the door mirrors and LED lights here on the roof rack. Plus, check out those wheels. These wheels are epic. I love the design of these wheels. It'd be terrible if you curbed them though. Then there's something in the back, look at this. Oh, you come in. Oh, we're going to come. We're not just going to cut to it. Instead of your spare wheel, you have, I imagine, your charging cables in there. I'm imagining because no one's told me. I hope I'm right. If I'm not, let me know in the comments. Maybe it's something else. Right, enough of the concept cars. Here's a real production car ready to go on sale, the new EQE 350. So it's the smaller version of the EQS. It's quite interesting because the EQS's design looks a little bit blobby, but somehow it just works a little bit better with this smaller EQE. You've still got a similar kind of grill not grill thing with the Mercedes stars in it like that, and you got to check out the alloy wheels because they've also got the Mercedes star on them. That is a really cool design. Mercedes are doing some good wheels at the moment, you know. Let's check it out inside. Here on the inside it's more or less identical to the EQS in terms of the design, the fit and finish. Yeah, it's nice. I like the two-tone effect. Quite like what they've done once again with the dash though, and the little Mercedes stars. Wait a minute. Not sure about the quality of that. It's the thing with Mercedes, some of it looks really good and expensive, then other bits like these stalks are just cheap and nasty and like from some budget car. Sorry Mercedes, don't hate me. Oh look, we have an electric version of the GLB called the EQB, of course. This one's the 350, so it's got a 292 horsepower motor, it's got all-wheel drive, and it's based on the same platform as the GLB, but they've electrified it with motor and a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack. And now we have the EQT concept, which is essentially an electrified people carrier van thingy. So it will go into production and will eventually be getting taxied around in these things when you fly into see Mercedes at Stuttgart. Yay. Oh my God, I found something really rare here on the Mercedes stand. It's a new car that isn't electric powered. In fact, it has a 2-litre, 200 horsepower diesel. It's a C-Class, all-terrain. It's like a jacked up C-Class with cladding around the wheels. It's basically their version of the Audi A4 all-road, but we won't be getting it in the UK. To finish on the Mercedes stand, I thought I'd leave you with this, Project One. It's not a world debut, it's just cool. Here on the mini stand, there is just one new car, and it is a complete nutter one-off. It's the Strip by Paul Smith. Now, Paul Smith has long had an association with designing Minis, but with this one, rather than being more showy, it's actually less showy in a way because it's super stripped down, hence the name. So there's no paint on the metal. In fact, look at the blemishes. That's how the metal leaves the factory. They just lacquered it so it doesn't rust. These panels here, they just bolt on and off. Look, you can see the exposed bolts, though they've highlighted them in high visibility yellow. The back, the lower part of the bumper. Look at that, that's just plastic. It's 3D printed. Same with the bumper at the front. The idea is if you prang it and you're young, you've got a 3D printer, you just print your own replacement part and put it on. You look inside, there's no like trim over the dash, it's just cork. The door handles are just ropes and there's no central infotainment system. There's just a place where you put your mobile phone. It's all about sustainability and simplicity and being able to just repair the car yourself. It's based on a Mini electric. There is actually another Mini here in Munich, though it's not on the Mini stand, it's on the BMW stand, and this is it. It's the Vision Urbanaut. You can only tell it's a Mini because it says it on those turquoise wheels. So this is sort of like a camper van, and it's autonomous, and it has 3 different modes. So one mode is chill, where basically you can just sit in the back, relax, and the car drive itself. Another one is called Wanderlust, where you drive the car yourself, and then the final one is called Vibe, where the interior opens up to create as much space as possible so you can have all your friends inside for a party. Obviously, if everyone's vaccinated and you've all got your COVID masks on, you know it is. Nightmare. This is the Porsche Mission R, and it's a really cool looking thing, isn't it? It's actually just a concept and it's a racing car, but it's designed to show that electric cars can be used for racing and it can be done sustainably and in a fun way. Now, this car has 2 electric motors. They put out 1,088 horsepower. Top speed is over 190 miles an hour. It's got the very latest electric tech on it, so a 900 volt electrical system. But what does all this mean to you or me? Well, some of the tech used on this car could eventually wind up on the 911 Hybrid. It's not often you get a new car brand launched at Motor Show, but here in Munich we have the new brand called Ora. Now, it's not anything to do with the singer Rita Ora. Instead, it's owned by Great Wall Motors of China. Here we have their new O3. It's basically a Tesla Model 3 rival. So you've got dual electric motors, one at the front, one at the back. Combined 400 horsepower, so it should be pretty quick. It's got a big battery as well. I think it's about 80 kilowatt hours, and that gives you a range of about 280 miles. Looks quite cool on the inside. Let's see if we can get in. Can we go inside to have a look? Can we go inside to have a look? Man says no. He wasn't sure. He's sure that I can't. Anyway, have a look through the window. Already showing off another new car. It's this. It's the O2. They call them the O2 Cat and the O3 Cat. I don't know why that is. Anyway, this is like an alternative to a Hyundai Kona electric or a Kia e-Niro. Front wheel drive, single electric motor, 170 horsepower, a battery capacity of 63 kilowatt hours, gives you a range of about 250 miles. This and the O3 are coming to the UK. Now let's see if we can actually get inside this car. Hey, so this car was open and there's no man to tell me I couldn't get in it. It's actually quite nice in here. So you've got soft touch materials on the door tops and this leatherette on the dash. The design is pretty cool. You've got this huge screen here. Steering wheel reminds me of that in a Mini, as do the toggle switches. Feels quite spacious though, unlike a Mini. It's nothing like a Mini here in the back because there's actually room for human beings. It's actually not bad. Look at that. Let's see if they've even left the boot open. Come on, have they? Come on, let me in. Oh yes. Oh my God, it's electrically operated as well. And there's the boot for you. And a man emerging from the rear where I was just sat. That's a bit of a mind bender, isn't it? I think that O2 is a little bit boring. You can get a hot hatch version. Well, you will be able to. This is just a concept for now, but it's got big rear wing, it's got bling alloys, front splitter. It's basically a John Cooper Works version. It does have a bit of the Mini John Cooper Works about it, doesn't it? Now, I'm not sure what this scoop is for, the rear wheel arch, because it's electric and the motor's at the front, so that's all fake. Anyway, here on the Renault stand we have the all-new Megane, but the big news is that this generation Megane will be all electric. There will be no internal combustion engine version at all. It's front wheel drive still, like the old car, and you can have 2 electric motors, so there's either a 130 horsepower one or a 218 horsepower one. There's also 2 battery choices. You can have 40 kilowatt hours, which will give you a range up to 180 miles, or a 60 kilowatt hour, which will give you a range of up to 280 miles. In terms of charging, find a fast charger. You can get up to 130 kilowatt charging rate, so that will allow you to put on about 200 miles of range in just 30 minutes. If you're charging at home using AC, it will charge 3-phase, so 22 kilowatts, which will give you 50 miles of range in half an hour. Anyway, let's have a look at the inside. I'll tell you what, this feels like a big leap forward over the previous generation Megane. And check out the screens here. It's nice, and the screens, they're not running some kind of Renault system, they're just using Google, which means it should work. Very easy if you've got an Android phone like me. They've gone for a sort of like squarish steering wheel, which is a bit odd, but then you have the driving modes here on the steering wheel, which is handy, so you don't have to look down to press some buttons if you want to go into different modes, such as sport, comfort, or whatever. Material quality is generally pretty good in here, and I like the multi-layered design. Ooh, got some storage under there. Right. Lovely. Here in the back, headroom's pretty decent, knee room's pretty decent. However, foot space is a little bit tight. The reason for that is that the battery pack is underneath the floor, and they haven't really raised the seats up, obviously to preserve headroom. The result means that you're sort of in this kind of position, like you're a bit squatting, and that's not going to be too comfortable on a longer journey. You're going to have to go like that, I think. Let's inspect the boot. Come on. I don't have the exact dimensions for you, but it looks big enough, though there is a huge load lip, which will be a bit annoying when lifting things in and out. I'm not going to criticise the design though. This is a good looking car. It's sort of like a halfway house between an SUV and a hatchback. I like it, they've done a good job. And look, it's riding on 20-inch alloy wheels on just a normal Megane. When you think of smart cars, you think of little 2-seater city cars, don't you? Well, you're going to have to think again, because in future, smart is going to grow up a bit. And this is signified by this concept car, the Smart Concept 1. As you can see, it's an SUV. It's about the same size as a Mini Countryman. Though if you look inside, you'll see it's got more room, and that's because it's an electric car, and it's built from the ground up as an electric car. So you have the battery underneath the floor, the wheels can be pushed out to each corner, and that frees up lots of interior space. They've kept the design inside nice and minimalist though. There's a bit of bling going on in there with some gold plastic about the place and some LED lighting. That could make production though. If you look at the front, there's some more LED lighting going on in the grille, and you can actually change the colour of the lighting at the front of the car if you want to. Now Smart is working with Geely. Now Geely is going to do all the battery tech, the motors and stuff like that, whereas Daimler will be doing the design of the car. So it's a partnership between those two brands, and in future every single Smart will be electric powered. Volkswagen is showing 2 cars here in Munich. The first is this, the ID.5 GTX. They've still got some camo on it for some reason. They're not going to reveal it without this for a few months yet. What do you need to know about it? Well, it's basically an ID.4 but with a more coupe-like rear end. As a result, you have to pay more for it. And because you have to pay more for it, they're trying to justify that by making the interior a little bit posher. This being the GTX means you've got 2 electric motors, one at the front, one at the back. Combined, they have 300 horsepower. Battery pack is quite a large one. It's 77 kilowatt hours, should give you a range around 250 miles. The really exciting car though on the Volkswagen stand is over there. Here it is then, probably the biggest news of the Munich Motor Show. It's the Volkswagen ID Life, a complete surprise. No one knew that this was happening, well, apart from people working at Volkswagen. What this hints at is the forthcoming ID.2. So look at the shape of this, and that's what it's going to look like. Effectively, if the ID.3 is like the electric version of the Golf, this will be the electric version of the Polo. It's a really cool car, and it's all about sustainability. So the outside, it's composite material, it's not metal, and there's no paint on it. Instead, it's got flecks of wood or something that gives it this weird colour. Here on the bonnet, it's got fabric padded area, obviously good for pedestrian protection. You can unzip that, and then you've got storage. Underneath there is your electric motor. So 234 horsepower, 0 to 60, 6.9 seconds. So it's going to be pretty zippy, this. It's the first front-wheel drive car from Volkswagen using their new electric car platform. They're normally rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It's still the similar architecture though. Battery capacity in this car, it's around 50 kilowatt hours, give you a range of 250 miles on a full charge. And it's quite chunky, SUV-like, isn't it? The inside of this car is absolutely mental. It is pretty concept car-y, such as the yoke steering wheel. Yeah, eat your heart out, Tesla. And you've got some like illuminated displays on it as well. Then you've got this dash, which is just pure wood, and it's recycled as well. And then you've got your various features for your lights there, which will be touch-sensitive buttons. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck? You can't see where you're going. You've got this big screen here. That's actually a cinema screen. It's playing a movie. Now the idea is that you can fold these seats down flat, then you go sit in the back, relax, and watch your film when you're charging your car, or you just want to get out your house because your family's doing your head in. Now there's some other things in this car which I really like. That really comfy thick pile carpet. All the materials inside are either made from recycled materials or they're easy to recycle. It's super, super cool. Obviously this kind of thing isn't going to go into production, but other parts of the car probably will. Whew, finally at the end of the motor show. But I'm going to continue with one last manufacturer, because where there's a will, there is quite literally a way. So Way is a Chinese car brand, and they're announcing here at the show that they're going to be coming to Europe with a range of cars, including the Coffee 01, which is a plug-in hybrid about the same size as a BMW X5. So it looks like they've outgrilled BMW here.